Today's guest is Kieran Hart. Kieran Hart has just managed to break the British champion record for the most amount of weight lifted in a clean and jerk for his weight and age category. Kieran is unbelievable when it comes to functional fitness, CrossFit, even a little bit of HYROX, which you won't mind me saying. And in this podcast, we're going to take a deep dive into all those different subjects. So if you're looking to get into any type of functional fitness, this podcast is for you. And if you want to hear a little bit of controversy about HYROX, you'll also enjoy this episode. So if you're not already, please subscribe on YouTube, please follow on Spotify, and all feedback is appreciated. So mate, off the back of becoming the British champ for clean and jerk in your weight and age category, what was the initial thoughts or feelings once you'd completed the task?
Once I'd won, do you know what? It was surreal.
Yeah.
Something that I'd worked my arse off for 6-7 months, not going out, not having a drink, not going on holiday, nothing. And then to actually achieve the goal that you've set out to hit just made all of the hard work worth it and all the sacrifices worth it. It was even better having my girlfriend, my dad's fiance, and my 2 best mates there with me as well. That was incredible. It's still not fully sunk in, to be honest. Like I don't really allow myself time to think about it because I'm always thinking about the next thing, which in a way might kind of be a bad thing, but I don't know. I'm always wanting more. Yeah. Like, even though I've got.
So
that.
How long was that in the back of your mind to achieve that goal?
That's been on my mind for a good few years now. So I got into weightlifting quite late in life. So senior goes from age 23 up until 35. So I only started when I was 26, 27. So quite late. So all the lads that I'm competing against in senior were all like, they've been doing weightlifting since they were about 15, 16, do you know what I mean? So they were incredible athletes. But that just got me hooked. And normally if kids that age don't necessarily make it big by like 26, they'll stop. So the masters categories aren't necessarily as competitive. So I thought, right, I'm going to just stick it out in the seniors for a few years, get experience, try and do well, obviously. But as soon as I can go into the upper age category, I'll just go straight into that. But I managed to do quite well at the British. I think I finished 5th, it was, at the British Open. And that was against lads who were like 22, 23, really good athletes. And just to qualify for that, in my category, you had to put up a total of 211 kilos, which is your snatch and your clean and jerk added together. And I managed to get that, and it was my PB. I'd never hit that before, just to qualify. So then I did the British. And then the next year, I was obviously hoping to do it again, and they put the total up to 222. So I was like, there's not a chance I can even get anywhere near that. I'm not going to put 11 kilos on my total. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, just take this season out just to focus on getting stronger, making my lifts more efficient, and I'll wait for Masters. So I did a couple of comps. I ended up winning the Scottish Nationals. So technically, I was the Scottish champion at senior level when I was 33.
That's sick.
Which is mad. But yeah, that was kind of cool. And then obviously this year, just trained hard for British.
Yeah.
And I hit the goal, and yeah, it's a mega feeling. Especially to get the records as well.
Yeah.
Like my name, the clean and jerk record for my category was 110. I opened up on 114.
Wow.
Then I went 116, and then on my I did 120 on the last one. And that
so
got me
for those listening, how much was you weighing at the time?
I weighed in at 66, bang on.
And you threw 120 kilo above your head.
Above my head.
So people who are listening, go and search clean and jerk and actually like digest that for a second, because I don't think people realise it's fucking 120 kilos above your head.
That lifts on my Instagram, by the way, so go check it out.
Check it out, mate, because I remember deadlifting when I was like 18 and I was weighing 80 kilo. I couldn't even pick 110 kilo off the floor. Man, throw it above my head. I think, mate, some of the lifts are just insane. I remember watching, is it the Chinese, who the champs?
The Chinese are unbelievable. Yeah. They're so good. The technique is unparalleled, and that's what I try to emulate in my coaching and my own training.
Yeah.
The way that they lift is so efficient. they're just built for weightlifting. Their anatomy is a little bit different as well. So some of the aspects of the lifts we have to change because being Western, your bodies aren't the same. Yeah, built different. So some of their setups are quite upright, where people over here would see that and think, oh, I'm going to try that. But then it just ends up being a shit lift because the bodies aren't built like that.
Yeah.
Whereas me as a coach, I can obviously give the information as to why we don't lift like that, why we should lift in a certain way to make it more efficient. But everybody's bodies are different. You know what I mean? So somebody can do that who's from the UK, but not necessarily everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just understanding that there's no one right way. You might have the way that you coach, but some person might either not resonate with it or they might not lift efficiently that way. And that's fucking sound. Like, you know yourself as a coach, like everything's constantly evolving. You don't just want to pick one way and that's gospel. Otherwise, if you're not willing to open up to other aspects, you're not going to grow as an athlete, as a coach, as a human being. So you've always got to be open to it, I think.
Yeah, and one of the main things I always try and say to clients or somebody who wants to become a client is, as a coach, your job is literally to take every bit of information in and personalise it to someone's needs.
Absolutely.
And like you said, the different builds and stuff like that. I think people think that we just put out a different training program for the sake of it, or a nutrition plan that's just been saved on Google Sheets. Like, some coaches might do that if you want to and you just want a nice payday, but like for me, and I know for yourself, it's personalising every little bit of information that you've learned over the years and thinking, this person has got X, Y, and Z wrong with them. Let me give them this program that's going to suit their needs. And it's so important.
Yeah.
People think that it's just going to be, you know, carbon copy programs all the time, but it's not. It's got to suit that individual. Like you said, Chinese and the Western sort of societies might be different builds for a lift. And like, I can imagine when you're clean and jerking 120 kilos, any sort of minor differentiation in your technique will cause a massive issue.
Oh, absolutely. And just that particular lift as well, it's a lift that I've never actually hit in comp before, ever.
Oh, sick.
I've failed it every single time I've tried. I've only ever hit it in training once, and that lift was my last lift of the day. So basically, for anybody who doesn't know, when you do a weightlifting competition, you'll do snatch first, and you get 3 attempts, that's it. Then you'll have a bit of a break, and then you'll do clean and jerk, 3 attempts. And then they will take your heaviest lift out of all of those. So if you fail your first 2 lifts, and then you don't get a third, you don't get a score.
On. Oh, no way.
No, you just don't get a
No
score.
score at all.
But obviously the pressure's on, massively. So it's always good to get that first lift on, and then you're okay. Then you've got a score, and the nerves aren't as bad.
Yeah.
So I hit my snatch. I did my first 2 lifts, and my third lift, I stuck a heavier lift on than I knew I was capable of, just purely because I'd already beat the guys in my category for snatch. So I thought I'll just have a laugh and see what happens. Ended up failing it. But then when it came to clean and jerk, I needed 120. I'd already got the clean and jerk record, but I needed 120 to hit the total. So if I failed that lift, I didn't get the total, and I'd set out from the beginning. I wanted the clean and jerk record. I wanted the total record.
Yeah.
So in the warm up area, I was just thinking, like, there's no other thought in my mind that this is getting fucking sent.
Yeah.
Like, there was no doubt. Even though I'd never hit it in comp before, I just knew it was going because I knew I had to do it because that was my goal.
Yeah.
And I just remember walking out just before they called my name to come out. I had Joe there. I had Newman with me.
Sick.
They were like, Kieran, you've fucking sacrificed so much for this. This is it. This is your moment. And I was just like fully focused. I walked out, stepped up to the bar. As soon as I picked it up off the ground, I just knew it was going because it just felt so light.
Yeah.
And I was fucking buzzing.
Yeah.
Just to hit it. And like on the video on my Instagram, you can see my face when I turn around.
Yeah.
It's fucking class.
Mate,
Like,
I bet the feeling's sick.
mate, it was insane.
Yeah.
So good.
Do you feel like having friends and family in the corner is just like even more of a motivation?
I'm going
for
to
yourself?
pick these 2 idiots up now. So Joe and Newman, if they weren't there, I don't think I'd have won.
Yeah.
Just purely because I was on my own and then because my coach couldn't make it. And when you're in the warm-up area, it's not just thinking about your lifts, your warm-up lifts and stuff. You've got to think about all the other people that are lifting against you, because the lifts will go every 2 minutes. So when your name's called, you've got 1 minute then to go up from the warm-up area to the lift and lift it. And then they give another minute reset. So that's 2 minutes till the next lift. But if somebody fails a lift and they're going before you, they'll either up their weight or they will go again. So then that throws your time off of when you're going to lift next.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to think about all of that shit going on and your own warm-up lifts and the fact that you've got to lift it, it's very stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I've done that a couple of times and it wasn't great. But the last few times I've done it, I've done a comp, JB's been there, and then this one, I started warming up and I was on my own, and I just thought, I can't do this. So I texted Joe Newman, I said, come out of the crowd and I'll sneak you into the warm area and you can be my coaches. So I had Joe putting plates on and I had Newman doing his numbers, checking the board. He didn't have a fucking clue about weightlifting, but he knows numbers. And I said, this is how it works. And he just understood it straight away. And he was like, right, you've got 8 minutes, so do your next warm-up lift.
Yeah.
And then you've got another lift and then you can go out.
Yeah.
And it just settled my nerves, calmed my nerves completely.
Yeah.
And just made everything flow so easy.
Sick. And that, they're just taking the role of a coach.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. I said they just
so
slotted
cool.
in. It was that's what your coach would do. They'd put your weights on and they'd tell you what you're doing. I had Joe for one, I had Newman for the other.
And it takes so much pressure off of that.
And just that I was just sat down chilling and I could speak to them.
Yeah.
I didn't really have to focus on too much about the comp. I could just relax. And that's the best way, really. It's once you get into your own head, your nerves can take over and make it worse than it actually is. Because in weightlifting especially, people get sucked into mind games in the warm-up area because you're warming up next to all the people that you're competing against. So if you're lifting similar weights and then say somebody fails a lift in the warm-up area, the person who fails it obviously feels shit if they see then the person they're against lift it and do it fine.
Yeah.
So I don't really get sucked into that because I've just got into the mindset of weightlifting is purely an individual sport. Yes, you're against other people, but you can't change anything with regards to what they do. I can't change what I lift. What I lift is what I lift. Simple as. So fuck everybody else. You can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that works in my favour in the warm-up area because that would have just the scenario what I just said then happened to a lad who I was against.
Yeah.
We were warming up and I could see what they were lifting, but like I said, it doesn't really bother me. And they kept putting an extra 5 kilos on top of what I was doing, but they was doing the full movement of full snatch and I was doing a complex of power snatch into a squat snatch. And he failed the lift and then I power snatched it. So then that put him on the back foot. So already I knew I had him just from that. But again, that just comes down to experience.
Yeah,
being in
mate,
that
the
situation.
psychology behind it's crazy. It's like, I remember going to my coach's bodybuilding show, Nathan, and it's the same thing. When you turn up on the day, like, if your lats are big, they're not just going to magically get any bigger or smaller on the day.
Yeah.
You're coming with your best physique, and it's an individual sport again, the case of once you step up on stage, your physique is your physique. All the work that you've put in leading up to it, that's it. You've just got to go and showcase it as well as you can. I can imagine it's similar with weightlifting. Like, you can have that psychology beforehand of like, oh yeah, like I'm going to put them extra 5 kilos on and make him think that I'm going to do better than him. But he's going to go up to the platform and do the lift by himself at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's sick. When you achieved the actual goal of hitting those lifts, what was the feeling in regards to moving forwards? Do you feel like you've got another goal in mind, or is that a difficult thing in regards to?
So with that, I'd always planned to try and qualify for all the major comps this year. So with weightlifting, before you can even try to enter British or Euros or Worlds, you have to do a lower level comp, and that registers a total for that year. They've got certain criteria for the comps. So for my category, for British, I think the total that you had to throw up was, I think it was 176, which isn't that heavy. But then when you get to Euros, it was like 187, and then Worlds is 195. And in my qualifying event, I managed to qualify for all three. So I always knew that I was going to do Euros at least. And I'm even considering Worlds, but it's just a big year that, and I don't know whether I want to put myself through it. But yeah, I'd always planned to do Euros. So my goal was to win British and then just see what happens at Euros. Because at Euros, it's much more of a larger comp. I think there's 12 people just in my category. So I'm against 12 other people basically. So that makes the competition a little bit more fierce. But again, it just comes down to I can only lift what I can lift, so fuck everybody else. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's just going to be a mega experience because it's going to be people lifting from, like, I think in my category there's a couple of people from Italy, Hungary, Belgium, Germany. So it's just going to be
such a good experience.
What an experience. There's like 600 athletes in it. It's over about 8 days.
That'll be so good.
In Norway.
Oh, sick.
Which is going to be cool.
Mate, that'll be so good. You're going to go away to Norway as well. On top of that.
Yeah, plus I've got Newman's coming with me, so he can be my coach.
Drop a link for Newman's coaching at the end of the podcast. So what is the motivation then when you know, you've already got that plan moving forwards. Is that something that's always been instilled in you, or is that something that you've had to learn over time?
No, I don't think I've had to learn it. I just think it's always been in me. It doesn't matter whether it's sport, whether it's business, whether it's my relationships. I can't just stay the same. I've just got this desire to be better at everything. And when people are just happy, just stuck in a dead end job, not progressing, that just doesn't, I can't even understand that. Because even if I was at, I don't know, I'm not saying like a slight on Morrison's, but if I just worked at Morrison's or something like that, or a supermarket, I'd be fucking manager.
Yeah.
100%. There's no way I'd be stacking shelves for the rest of my life. I'd do it that well that I would progress because I just need to do that. And I don't know why.
Was there no sort of flick of a switch, or has it always just been
I don't know, I think it might come down from the way I was brought up. Like, my dad always got me into sport from being a kid. He was always trying to make me better, help me to get better, kicking the football with me outside, passing the rugby ball with me outside constantly. Even tutoring me, because like in school I was shit at maths and I was in the bottom set, and my dad never finished school, but he was really, really clever. So he tutored me. Like every day after school, he'd sit me down for about half an hour and make me do like maths problems and stuff like that. And I ended up getting a B. I think I got a B+ in my GCSEs, which I was in the bottom set. Do you know what I mean? To pull it up to that was great. So I think all that being brought up like that has obviously instilled
kept that motivation in
definitely.
You. Yeah. What was where did the passion for CrossFit come from? So then go into weightlifting.
Right. So this is a bit of an interesting one actually. So I was playing rugby, and I wanted to get obviously fitter and stronger specifically for rugby. And I was PTing with Mike Reed at DW.
Oh, no way.
And he was doing a lot of like CrossFit style stuff, which I didn't know it was CrossFit. He was just like getting me to do workouts, WODs, and walk on my hands and shit like that in DW. And then he ended up opening his own CrossFit gym, and it was the first CrossFit gym in Wigan. It was CrossFit Wigan before the new CrossFit Wigan took it over. So I started there. But coming from like bodybuilding and rugby background, I was so tight, like never stretched. The way that I even moved my body was just not efficient. And doing CrossFit highlighted that, especially when I moved to JST. So the reason why I left CrossFit Wigan is just the way that I was being coached to weightlift was not the best, should we say. So like my mobility was lacking, but I wasn't being shown how to correct it, yeah, especially with my wrists. So for anybody who's not like familiar with weightlifting, or if you're doing like a clean or a front squat or anything like that, you need to rest the bar on your delts. But if you can't get your grip around the bar, your elbows are going to drop and it's going to put pressure on your wrist. So for me, because my lats were so tight, couldn't get my elbows up, but I was being told to warm my wrists up, and that it was my wrist that needed like flexibility training. So I kept doing that, and then obviously it didn't work. And I went to clean. I think it was 90 kilos at the time. That was going for a PB.
Yeah, wow.
90, and the bar slipped off my shoulder, took my thumb with it, so I ended up breaking my scaphoid. So I was in a cast for like 3 weeks until it set, and I was like, right, I need to go and obviously see somebody who can actually help. And then as soon as I went to JST, JB took one look at me and said, it's nothing to do with your wrists, it's your lats. Your lats are too tight. That's what's stopping your elbows from coming up. So I just worked my arse off to do that, make sure I hold front rack, and then it was fine after that. I can't remember what your original point was. What did you ask me?
I was just asking, what was the passion for CrossFit? Oh,
right, yeah. You asked how I got into it. Yeah. So as soon as I started getting better and progressing in that respect, it just highlighted other areas that I wanted to progress in. So even just being taught how to do a squat, like I've played sport to quite a high level all my life, never once got taught how to do a proper squat. No one told me about tracking your knees over your toes. Like no one told me about the correct width you should have your feet at. Nobody told me to keep my chest up. Like how was that even possible?
Yeah.
Like at 24, that was when I first learned how to do a squat, and I'd been in sport my whole life, which was crazy to me.
Yeah.
So then that made me just want to try and focus on my movement as a whole. So not just squatting, but how I moved my upper body. how I braced my core, so learning the gymnastics movements properly. Everybody wants to do a fucking muscle up, but no one has a clue what a hollow rock is. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I loved that. I fell in love with that. It's always different. There's always something new to work on. And it's same with, like, people say about goal setting and stuff like that. The thing is with CrossFit, the goalposts are always changing, and that's what helps with motivation for me. I can, like, say for argument's sake, someone wants to learn how to do a muscle up, because everyone wants to fucking do a muscle up, don't they? That's the reason why people, I want to do a muscle up. Mate, you've not even been in the gym 2 minutes. But the thing is, it might take you 6 weeks, it might take you 6 months. Once you get that first muscle up, the feeling's mega, but then it's like, right, I want to do 2. Right, I want to do 3. Okay, I'm going to try and do 10 unbroken. It's constantly moving, so there's always something else to change, to chase, sorry. And I think that it just got me hooked straight away.
One of the points you've touched on there as well, like how you went from one CrossFit gym to another with like a bit of an injury or a bit of an issue that you then sorted and rectified. One of the things that I think's demonised and uncalled for really is how CrossFit can cause injuries. What would you say to people who think that it's injury prone?
Yeah, people say that it's injury prone, but come on, like, there's so many more injuries going on in global gyms that are untelevised. People are there unsupervised, not knowing what they're doing. Like, that's so much worse than it is in CrossFit. I think CrossFit got highlighted for stuff like that because it was quite a new thing at the time. I mean, everyone said it was a fad. It's been going for over 15, nearly 20 years now. It's being incorporated into the armed forces, military. It's not going anywhere. It makes you into a more resilient human, because that's what we're trying to do. Like, essentially, unless you go into the CrossFit Games, like, all we're trying to do is make you into a fitter, stronger, more resilient human.
More efficient.
Yeah, more efficient, and just longevity. Like, you know yourself, unless you're not lifting weights, you're going to be an old, frail, like, soft human. Do you know what I mean? But I think CrossFit gets a bad rep for stuff like that because it was new. Yeah. It was new at the time. People were seeing people doing butterflies, and it was only the videos of people doing them shit that
went viral.
Posted. Yeah, exactly. People falling off bars and stuff like that. But no, to be honest, I don't see a lot of it anymore. I think it was quite rife all over the internet, and people ripping me for doing CrossFit and stuff just when they didn't understand it. I think it's a bit more widespread now. Yeah. Fucking hell, there's 3 CrossFit gyms in Wigan. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're everywhere. So I think in terms of the coaching as well, I think that's something that needed to be addressed, because in a way, like, you could literally go and do your CrossFit level 1 with no prior background in fitness and open your own gym. And I think it was those kind of places where people were just trying to make money.
I was going to say minimal equipment, a box setup where you just come in, you get a sweat on.
Yeah, all they wanted to do was just write up the workout of the day, let people crack on with it, not coach them, not coaches themselves. Yeah. Like I said, they were just trying to make some money. And I think it's from those gyms where
you see a lot of injuries, you see a lot of mishaps. Do you think with CrossFit, I feel like the term functional fitness has come to fruition like over the, I don't know, past couple of years in regards to like our industry on Instagram and things like that, social media. What would you describe as functional fitness?
Absolutely anything. Like, people would say a functional movement is like a compound movement, like a squat or a press or a deadlift. Are you telling me that doing a bicep curl and getting strong bicep curls isn't going to functionally help you in life? Yeah. You're going to try and pick your baby up without having bicep strength. You're not telling me that picking your own baby up's not functional.
Yeah, I feel like mate, I completely agree. It's all opinion based, because I think if someone's function is literally being able to walk, breathe, get up off the couch and reach for the top shelf, that's my opinion on functional fitness. And I think as long as you can do that without having any pains or niggles, you're in a good place. And I think like you touched on there, where some people might open up a gym, they've got a qualification, no sort of coaching experience behind them, they'll say, oh, we're doing this functional fitness class where they just put a couple of exercises together that might be similar to CrossFit, might be a bit of something, just to get a sweat on with some people and then get them back out the gym. There's no kind of actual coaching intent behind it. And it gets a bad rep, but I think more and more people are trying to be functional fitness, but I think it's just a case of, like you said, just trying to be more of an efficient human. It's just trying to be fitter, trying to do more things. Like, there's the whole hybrid sort of sort of trainer or hybrid athlete that people want to be, where you can lift heavy and run quicker. Who doesn't want to do that?
No.
Who doesn't want to be able to lift heavy weights?
It's the terminology that people get wrapped up in. Oh, it's a hybrid workout.
Yeah.
It's just it's basically CrossFit.
You're just doing a weight session one day.
It's
and
functional
running the
fitness.
other
It's
day.
just CrossFit, mate.
Yeah.
Just chill out. You know what I mean? It's the same.
100%. Well, going off the back of that, HYROX and CrossFit. Give me your opinions. Your honest opinions.
Honest opinion. So like we talked off, I have got no issue with HYROX. Like, as a training methodology, I think it's great if it's going to get people off the couch and get into some fitness, some form of intense fitness. In terms of me doing it, it's not something that I would look to do myself. Maybe, I'm not going to say never, because I would never say never. But if I was going to do it, it would be probably a partner one. Like you've done a partner one, haven't you? Yeah. Which I'd enjoy more. I don't feel the need to do an individual HYROX comp to, I don't know, fulfill whatever need I have inside me. I don't need to promote it or anything like that. So I'm not going to do it just to jump on the bandwagon, which I know a lot of people are at the minute. But yeah, like, for me, the main difference with it is the format. Yeah. Where in terms of being different from CrossFit, it's the format, and that's what doesn't excite me. It's always the same, and I'd rather have a bit of variety. Do you know what'd be funny? This like HYROX, fucking quote me on this. You're gonna turn up one day, get all the elites, because what is there, like 10 or 15 of them?
I think so, yeah.
Get the elites and go, right, we're gonna pick the exercise out of a hat, and that's the order that you do it in.
Yeah, that's sick.
Instead of just having it in the same order, or do it backwards.
Yeah, I think they do that at JSP. I think I'm speaking to John Bowen.
That would be fucking fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'd watch that, because they'd crumble. Doing the wall balls first. Yeah. They'd fucking die.
They'd be absolutely knackered doing that first 1K.
See, I'd watch that, and I'd probably get involved in that, because that's funny.
Yeah.
It's good. It's class. It's the unknown.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main difference between CrossFit and HYROX. CrossFit, you're training for anything. Like, you can be doing it, it could be fucking 3 minutes long, it could be 30 minutes long. It could be this weight, a heavy weight, it could be a lightweight. There's so many different forms, times, modalities that it can come across. Whereas HYROX, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And fair enough, if you're like pushing for a world record, then you're a beast.
Yeah.
Simple as, like, there's no two ways about it. Like we said about Jake.
Yeah.
Jake Dearden, he's an absolute animal.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of functional work, he does a lot of CrossFit and a lot of weightlifting. And all of those things together have helped him be a better HYROX athlete.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not disrespecting it.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking mega.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's got so many people hooked on fitness, not eating shit, looking after the nutrition, getting out running. Do you know what I mean? That's fair fucking play.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I spoke to you about before I did this podcast, and I'll call myself out, I put a reel on an Instagram once saying HYROX is easy to program for. Got a lot of stick. But what I was meaning was the exercises are pretty easy. They're just like primal movements. So I didn't even want to use that word, because I feel like that's again putting a label on something. But it's just a ski erg, a sled push, a sled pull. Like most people who are healthy-ish or some sort of efficiency within the body should be able to perform them. Obviously with the weights it might be a little bit harder, but like you said, I think it's so good that anybody can access the HYROX, whether they do it in 2 hours, an hour and a half or an hour, at least anyone can go and enjoy it. With CrossFit, off the back of that, do you think people look at it and go, shit, I'm not trying that, it's too hard?
Yeah, I mean, that is a very, very common misconception, not just in CrossFit, but especially in Wigan, especially at JST. Like, we get so many people turn it away just purely because they think, oh, I'm not going there, everyone's mega, like everyone's sick doing muscle ups and all that. Where it's completely not the case. You've got maybe the top 5% of member base that are the ones doing muscle ups, all the high level skill movements, walking on your hands and shit. But that's not what it's like in the gym. 90% of any class at any time in the day is going to be plumbers, nurses, teachers. You know what I mean? Not athletes. And they're the people that we will then develop into doing high level skill movements. But the way CrossFit is magical is you have got, say I've got someone's fucking grandma in the class, and then I've got Matt Fraser. We can have the class of the day and make sure that the workout is scaled or progressed so that both of those people will get the right stimulus out of the workout. Yeah. So you'd regress it for someone's grandma. You would then scale it up for Matt Fraser. Still both going to work the same. still going to get the same out of it, but they've done a completely different workout in essence. And so anybody can come into the class and do it.
Yeah.
Simple as. Doesn't matter if it's muscle ups. Like I actually posted on my story a couple of days ago, on the class it was ring muscle ups. And I posted someone doing a ring muscle up. I posted someone doing a bar muscle up, which is slightly less of a movement. And then I posted some people doing ring transitions that's on the low rings, focusing on the movement over the top of the ring. And they were all doing it.
Yeah.
Like Danielle, my girlfriend, she didn't like CrossFit at first, but she's been coming down and getting more out of it because she needs to build a bit of strength. And she loves it now. And she used to always say to me, oh, I can't do that. Like, Danielle, I've explained to you a million times how it works. I can scale everything back for you.
Yeah.
And then she's come in, she's made friends at the gym and she loves it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. She's a dancer, so she doesn't really want to lift heavy weights and stuff like that. And she doesn't need to. This is the thing as well. If you don't want to lift heavy, you fucking don't need to. If you don't want to do a full squat snatch, you don't need to.
Yeah.
No one's forcing it on you. None of our coaches will make you do it if you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
If you just want to come in and get a sweat on, you don't give a fuck about learning a new skill, then don't. It's as simple as. We don't expect you to do anything you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
If you turn up to the class and go, oh, I want to learn an overhead squat, but your mobility's crap, we might then lessen the movement.
Scale it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you come in and go, I don't want to do squat snatches, I'm just going to power snatch it. I don't want to use an Olympic bar, right? Use a dumbbell instead then.
Yeah.
Fucking done. Simple as. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Yeah, so that's one of the main things I think's demonised, where people are scared or don't want to go to a CrossFit gym because they feel like it's going to be too hard or too competitive. But like you said, like with your girlfriend there's that feeling of togetherness with people who are going to be in a similar situation as you.
There's another reason for like people being put off, like, and that could be down to the coaching. They might have had a bad experience. Yeah. If you have come into the gym and said that CrossFit isn't for you, then that's on the coach, in my opinion. Because I fully believe that anybody that comes into my class, I can get them to enjoy it. Whether they stay or not, or don't, if it's not for them, then it's not for you. Like, I fully believe that CrossFit would benefit everyone.
Yeah.
It's not everyone's cup of tea, so I get that. I'm not going to force it on people because I believe that you should want to do it and enjoy it. But if you came to my class, I guarantee you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's the same for any coach at JST as well. We want everybody to have a good time, to enjoy themselves, get on with the people in the class. And it is a community. Like, I know every single member at JST. We all go out and do stuff together.
Yeah.
And that, I think CrossFit breeds that.
Yeah.
Same, I work for the 180 Project, and that's a huge community. Like, it's helping people break down barriers of drug addiction, coming out of prison, and all of these people are just in one big community together. No one gives a fuck about your background. No one cares if you're, I don't know, Asian or fucking disabled or whatever. You could be anything and you're accepted.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that you are going into a workout and you're suffering with other people. And that's just the beauty of it for me. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think turning up and getting a sweat on with a lot of people who are doing the same thing or in a similar situation, like you said, it's that form of like camaraderie that people enjoy, and the togetherness and like you're all on the same mission sort of thing. And do you ever think there's some sort of competitiveness that can get in the way of people's experiences?
Only for a certain few. I think that just comes down to...
But then do you think that reflects on the person?
Yeah, definitely. It's totally the person. Like, I absolutely love the competition aspect. That's why I started it, and then it stopped me playing rugby because I just took to CrossFit more. But I feel like that comes down to the person and how they are as themselves, because I want to win every single workout I do, but I'm not a dickhead about it. Like, the only thing worse than a sore loser is a bad winner. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think it can go to some people's heads, but that's more of a reflection of them and not CrossFit. So, and
their ego.
Yeah, ego, absolutely. You check your ego. Like, no one gives a fuck what's on the whiteboard. Like, we have a whiteboard and we write everyone's times and like weights on what they've lifted, but that's more for you. Do you know what I mean? You can look at your time and think, right, I'm going to fucking beat that next time. Or that weight, look where I started. Like, I've got pictures of the whiteboard when, like I said, I even brought my when I did my wrist. 90 kilos I was trying to clean. Fuck me, I could probably muscle clean that now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just thinking, how far have I come since then? And that's my main thing with the whiteboard. Some people get scared of it. Oh, I don't want to put my numbers on the shit. Like, it's not for anyone else, it's for you.
Yeah. And I think if you go in there and you've got that intention of looking at other people's numbers or looking at the person, like we spoke about before, putting 5 kilos on the weights before he warms up and does a lift, you need to have a check-in with yourself.
Yeah.
You should not be comparing
I do,
yourself to
sometimes I
someone else.
like that, because in the classes, like, sometimes I might train at 6 o'clock, and then I won't see the board then for the rest of the day. But you want to see what your mates have got.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if my mate's in a different class
Yeah.
and we're always competing against each other, I want to try and beat him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that can go too far sometimes, where people will just want to have the name at the top of the board, or I want the fastest score, so they'll cheat reps or stuff like that. But that's, again, that's far and few between at JST.
Yeah, and that's the person at the end of the day as well.
We try and get rid of that. Like, not the people, we just try and change that mindset.
Yeah.
Because it's that, again, it's not what it's all about.
That's a good question there then. How would you go about changing that mindset with someone who's so competitive but it's going too far where it's detriment to them?
It's a tough one, that, because everybody's different. You can't just outright call it. And you don't want to do it in the middle of the workout. I would never shame somebody up. But if somebody is potentially shaving reps to try and get a decent score, I will call it out as a whole. I won't single that one person out, or say if they're not doing a movement correctly to try and make it faster. Like, let's just call a wall ball, because I know we were talking about HYROX before, and that's another thing that I didn't like at first. The standards weren't the best at the beginning. Wall balls, to make it a rep count, you have to get your hip crease below your knee. It's not your bum below your knee, it's your hip crease. So you have to go below parallel. And if that's not being done, then I will call it out in the middle of the class, just so everybody can hear. Now, because I've not directly pointed at someone, everybody will be like, "Oh fuck," you know what I mean? Because I do it, even though I'm in the class. If one of the coaches says, "Make sure you're hitting depth on your wall balls," and then everyone's doing wall balls, I'm like, "I'm fucking getting to depth." Like, and then I'll make sure I go lower. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think there's any. You can't really tackle it head on, to be fair, unless it's an issue for other people. Then I would. But if it's just somebody trying to show off and it's not really affecting anybody else, then I don't know. If they're doing it blatantly in the middle of the class, then you would call it out.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can just go over to someone and just
say you're an absolute knobhead, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not. Even that's just adding to the problem.
Yeah.
Because then that person could then take such of an issue that they leave, go to another gym and go, "Oh, the dickhead's there." Do you know what I mean? When that's not the case. So, no, I just think if the whole mentality of the gym is positive, then hopefully that will breed over to the other people. And I think that's what, at JST, it's like that. You get the odd people everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen regardless of what gym you go to.
Yeah, that's 100%.
You can't completely stomp it out. It's impossible.
Same with anyone who's working a 9 to 5. If they go and move from one job to another because they don't like X person because they talk about them behind the back, there'll be another person who'll do
Exactly.
it. You can't escape people who are bad people. They're going to be everywhere. There's light and dark to every job or every gym that you go to. For someone who is new, thinking about joining CrossFit, wants to start up, what would be the first couple of steps you'd recommend to them?
Come join JST. No, just go to any CrossFit gym and explain the situation. If they've got a beginner's course, maybe do that first, and then look at doing a beginner's class maybe, and then progress onto the CrossFit classes from there. If you've got a decent level of fitness already, a decent background, you could probably just go straight into the CrossFit classes. If you know how to move your body and you've played team sports before, like come from rugby or football, absolutely just jump into the CrossFit class. The coach should be well equipped to, like I said before, scale the movements back if you need to. And you'll pick the movements up pretty quickly. Like, I coached a guy this morning, actually, never done snatch before, which is the hardest Olympic lift to learn, because there's so much going on. Because I've been coaching it that long, I know an effective way to do it. And I literally had him squat snatching pretty much perfectly, only with the empty bar, but he fucking did it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm pretty confident that any of the coaches at JST could do the same. And it's not necessarily just with snatch, it's just with all the movements. People who understand how to move the bodies and got a decent coach will be able to do CrossFit straight away. Yeah. You might not be doing handstand walks or fucking muscle ups in class 1, but you'll be able to do the session 100%.
Well, that'll be point number 2. So if someone comes in, they're a bit of a beginner, they get used to doing a couple of the workouts, how would they then go, right, I want to progress, I want to do a little bit more?
So at JST, we actually do put high skill movements into the classes. We have all the progressions available, so people who can do the say it's handstand walks or handstand push-ups for argument's sake. Tier 1 handstand walks or handstand press-ups, and then you've got your tiers below it, and you start on the bottom one. Do that one. If you can do it, go on to the next one. If you can do that, go on to the next one. If you can only just do that, then you stay there until you perfect it. And you just keep doing that each week, and then you will eventually progress on to the top.
Yeah.
Just being consistent with it. If you do it one time, fail it, and then you go, oh, I can't do that. Well, obviously, you've only done it once. You've got to keep fucking failing.
Yeah.
Like, even Beckham didn't fucking fall out the womb curling screamers into top bins, did he? Like, he practiced every fucking day, and he probably
So
missed
true.
every fucking day.
Yeah.
And then that's what it takes.
Yeah.
You just got to keep at it without losing any confidence just because you failed a couple of times. Doesn't make you a failure.
No, 100%. That's something that I speak about in the gym when it comes to like growing muscle with certain clients. Like, if you look at, like you just said with Beckham, I always use Ronaldo as an analogy. I'm a United fan, even though Beckham is as well. But Ronaldo was a big idol of mine. Like, if somebody's doing an exercise, they will see more neurological growth just from the first newbie gains because they've learned how to do it correctly. Like, you might be doing a bicep curl, but if you're swinging yourself about, you're not going to be stimulating the bicep enough.
Yeah.
But if you then take time and you're slowing the way down, slowing the way up, and you're actually feeling that muscle, you're going to feel more benefit. And I can imagine the same with some of the movements. If you come in and you've got no idea and you're doing the movements wrong, do you get a lot of people who then beat themselves up, or do you think that people then develop a resilient mindset?
Sometimes, but so I've been starting coaching a lot of teenagers recently, and I've been seeing shitloads of progress with them. It's so good, but they are the most brutal on themselves if they can't do something straight away. Honestly, the emotion on the face, and I'm like, just chill.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. It doesn't make you a failure.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But they're so passionate, and I think that plays a part into it as well. Because I know I've been like that in the past. Like, I was quite hot-headed, and if I couldn't do something, it would piss me off. But it would piss me off enough to motivate me to keep going.
To do again.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I think some people can be so disheartened by failing that it stops them from even trying.
Do you think that's because some people, especially like younger teenagers, like you've been saying, they have a higher expectation of how easy things should be, or they need that instant gratification? Maybe because they see people on social media doing it like that all the time. Do you know what I mean? They might scroll down their Instagram, they see the Chinese weightlifter who's just throwing a ridiculous amount of weight above his head. He's like, why can't I do it?
I suppose it just comes down to the mindsets though, doesn't it? So if you've got a fixed mindset and you think that you should be the best off it just from natural talent, then you're always going to fail, basically. But if you've got a growth mindset, which is what I'm trying to instill on these kids, that it doesn't matter how many times you fail, like, you only have to get it right once. Do you know what I mean? And if you're going through life thinking that you're not going to fail, you're going to have a fucking pretty terrible life. Do you know what I mean? Because life's going to kick you in the ass.
You have a lot of doors shut in your face. 100%, lad. Well, quick question. This is a little bit off topic. If you could only have 5 CrossFit, quote unquote, for those listening on Spotify, CrossFit exercises for the rest of your life, what ones would you do?
Fuck. Put me on the spot here.
I didn't put that one in the topics when I sent them over.
Definitely going to be ring muscle ups, handstand press ups, hang power cleans, dumbbell snatch, burpees.
Burpees, mate.
Love them, mate.
Yeah, I do.
I know, yeah. I was going to say, well done. And
thank you, mate.
How did you get on?
How
many did you do?
We didn't beat the record.
Yeah, but how many though?
We did 5,225 burpees in 24 hours.
That.
And the guy who beat us, Ben Rollinson, stay down the lens, he did 5,100 in his first 12 hours.
Shit.
And then did 9,100 in total.
Wow.
I know, that was the most insane thing I've ever done, mate. Like, doing burpees for that long, repetitively, was horrible. Like, doing them in a session, you might only be doing them for 40 seconds, it's sound, but then having to sit back down in a chair, contemplate your life decisions, and then get up and do it again. You're literally getting up and down off the floor for like 24 hours. Yeah. It was horrible. I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
Do you know what? After when I saw that you were doing it, I was like, sounds like a bit of me, that.
Mate, do it. But if you do it, I'm doing it with you.
Most I've ever done in one go is 1,200.
Wow.
I did 10 on the minute, every minute for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And fuck, I was sore. I was the DOMS for you after
Awful.
that.
Well, just to go a little bit off topic, when I got home after doing the burpees, I went straight home and I couldn't sleep because every single time I tried to fall asleep, my body had just started like jolting because it was in so much pain, like elbows, wrists and shoulders and knees. And then I remember I ran a bath with some Epsom salts. Obviously, you have to.
Standard.
Got in the bath, and my mum rang me and was like, I'm going to give you a ring in 20 minutes just to make sure you've not fell asleep in the bath, because I couldn't sleep. So I'd done like, I don't even know, from 8 a.m. Friday morning. This was now like 12 midday Saturday, and I'd not slept because obviously we'd been doing the burpees, and I was in the bath and I couldn't move. Anyway, my mum rang and she was like, it's been 20 minutes, are you okay? I was like, yeah. She went, and I was like, right, I'll get out now, let the water run out the bath. And I ended up lying there in this bath, bollock naked, couldn't lift up. I couldn't get out the bath because my arms and elbows and shoulders were that sore. I couldn't even have the energy or power to push up off the bath.
Wow.
So I had to wait for my mum to come home and lift me out of the bath. Swear down. And that was like the most ridiculous experience and the most pain I've ever been in my whole life. Honestly, I can't describe it. I remember we did an hour break because we knew we weren't going to beat the record at about 1 a.m. and we went and like had some food and sat outside, and we was like, right, once we've done this hour break, we're going to get back to it, and we'll just do 5 every minute all the way through right until the end. And that 5 after having that hour break was absolutely horrendous. Because obviously your body stiffened up, and we was doing 5 a minute in about 30 seconds. We was doing 5, 30 seconds rest. The 5 after that 1 hour break, I think it took 2.5 minutes or 1.5 minutes just to do 5 burpees. It was the most humbling experience ever. But if anyone wants to try and beat the record, then go for it.
What was the record? 5,000?
9,100.
9,000.
He did 5,100 in the first 12.
Jesus.
And also you'd have to do 7 on the minute, every minute, for 22 hours. And then 23 hours, and you have an hour to play with for your rest.
Some going that.
I know, mate. It was horrible. So I don't know why you even pick burpees as one of your exercises.
Well, I'm not doing fucking 9,000, no, man, but because I'm good at them.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's a full body workout. I respect it, mate.
Yeah.
Obviously we've spoken about like a beginner getting into CrossFit. How would a beginner going about getting into HYROX?
Like I said, it's not my expertise, but I'm guessing just exactly the same way as you would with CrossFit. There's HYROX affiliates popping up quite a lot of places now. But to be honest, a lot of CrossFit coaches are actually coaching HYROX as well. Like I said, I think training CrossFit benefits HYROX quite a lot. But if you want to train specifically just HYROX, then I would just look on Instagram for a HYROX coach, or just look to the affiliates, and the workouts that they're programmed are all HYROX specific. Yeah, sick. There's one at the gym that I used to coach at in Darwin. It's HYROX BB3. So if people want to go there, they can check it out. Yeah, sick. And for most people who are getting into, let's say, functional fitness, or without using the word functional, like CrossFit or HYROX, who are worried about getting injured or they feel like it's not right for them, is there anything that you'd recommend mobility-wise or stretching-wise that people, it's like a non-negotiable that they should do? If they're starting CrossFit? Yeah. Front rack. Yeah. Absolutely. That's definitely up there. Hanging from the rig, any sort of dead hang. Hip mobility. I'm a massive fan of the lizard stretch. I think it's great. Hamstrings, glutes. Definitely the pigeon stretch is up there. So what do you want my top 5 stretches? Yeah, top 5 stretches as well. Pigeon stretch, dead hang. Probably the scorpion stretch for your chest and shoulders. Sitting in a squat, just sitting at the bottom of a squat, even front loading it, kettlebell, massively beneficial. And then front rack, definitely front rack. So I've got a stretch for that. If anyone wants to know, I'm going to throw it out here. It's on my Instagram, and it's actually you do it in the back rack. So say if you're doing a front squat, you hold the bar just outside your shoulders, keep that grip, put it onto your back, and then just push it slightly off your back and let it pull your elbows up. Insane. Yeah. It's so fucking painful at first, especially if you're tight, but it will highlight the areas that you are tight. And then you know you need to work on them. Correct. Yeah. What about running? Someone's getting into running. What would you recommend? Get some fucking running trainers. Yeah. Some proper ones. So a lot of people have been talking about this recently, to be fair, on Instagram and stuff. What is the difference between different running trainers? For those who don't know, I feel like a lot of people just say carbon plated, or what should people be looking for? So I actually experienced this for the first time, I think it was last year. So our mutual friend Newman, that we've not really spoke about that much this podcast, he wanted to do a 5K. Like, he was quite overweight. He was my first ever client, to be honest. And I helped him get under 100 kilos for the first time, and he's kept it off and obviously worked with you and done really well. But he wanted to do a 5K, so I said I'd do it with him. So we did. We did the park run. Oh, yeah. And he fucking loved it. So then he booked a 10K. But I think just before he did that, he rolled his ankle, if you remember. Yeah. So he couldn't do it. But as soon as he was back to fitness, he started running again. And I was looking into like running trainers and the benefits of them, because obviously HYROX has now highlighted running, so it's all over the place. So I thought, I love running, I always have, just from rugby and football, constantly running all the time. But for me, it was my Achilles would just be sore as anything, for, like all the time. And I was seeing a physio, and he said, you've got loads of scar tissue underneath your arches, and he said, do you want to get like check how you run? And when I was looking how I run, I was running on the outside of my foot. So I was having to focus on keeping my toes pressed in, but it was killing my feet running. So I just thought, right, I'll invest in some like proper running trainers. And one of my friends actually coaches people for Ironmans and marathons and stuff, Wimrow Performance, and he said get some Nike Alpha or Vaporflies, and he said it depends on what you want them for. If you want them for just purely racing, then get the Alphas. But if you want to do like a bit more training in them, then get the Vapors. So I bought the Vaporflies, mate. I put them on. I was walking and I felt like I was bouncing. Couldn't believe the difference between so-called running trainers and actual running trainers. And that's the Vaporflies have got the carbon fibre sole.
Yeah.
Went out on the first run. Me and Joe did a 10k down the canal, and we were just going at like, I think it was about a 5.5 minute pace. He was like, his heart rate was about 175, like he was blowing out his arse. I looked at my watch, it was 130.
Oh, sick.
Like honestly, I felt like I could run like that all day. And it was purely because of the trainers.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So now I've gone back to just wearing normal trainers when we go for the run on a Sunday at JST. Run club, 9 o'clock if you want to come. And I just wore normal running trainers, and the difference is ridiculous. I couldn't believe it.
How often would you change a pair of running shoes?
It depends. Some of them actually say on the box how many miles you should do in them. But I think it's like anywhere between, depending on the train, it's like 300 and 500 kilometre, I think. Something like that. It's quite difficult to keep track. I mean, you'll probably know yourself. You'll feel it in the trainers. If it's not giving you the same amount of bounce, or you're getting sore, or it's a bit loose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, also, one thing that blew my mind is the heel lock. You seen that?
No.
On the laces?
Oh, I think I've seen.
I posted the video.
Yeah,
of it.
I think I see. Where is it? Is it tight around the back?
No. So literally, if you look at a pair of running trainers, when you get them out of the box, there's an extra eyelet.
Oh, right.
Have you seen it?
Oh, well, it comes
At
with
the side.
it.
No, so like your laces, and then there's a hole for the lace.
Yeah.
There's an extra one next to where the lace is coming out.
Yeah.
You need to use that.
I just usually just thread it through because I think it's tighter.
No, so what you do is you make a loop on the same side, you put it back through the same hole on the same side, cross it over, and then pull it up through those loops, and it literally locks your entire heel in place.
Oh, wow. That's mad.
Mate, the first time you do it, let me know how
I'm
you
doing
get on.
Manchester 10k tomorrow,
As soon as you
I'm doing it.
I'll do it. Have you got them here?
No, they're all. I'm going to message you as soon as I get home, and I'm going to do it.
Honestly.
I've got the Puma Deviates, is it Deviates, or the Nitros that everyone got for HYROX.
Right, oh yeah.
And I've got one pair of them that I usually use when I go running.
Nice.
I feel like they're good, but I feel like, is there a pair called Endorphins? Or something along those lines.
Are they Saucony's?
Saucony's.
Yeah,
Saucony's Endorphins.
Yeah.
And I really want a pair of them.
Yeah. So Joe's got them, and he said they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try the heel lock when I get home.
Mate,
I can't wait for that.
Blow your mind, honestly. Just, as soon as you pull it tight, you'll be like, oh my God.
Mate, I'm going to have 47 minutes 10k tomorrow, I'm telling you that now. But so someone's got the new pair of running shoes, and they want to start running.
Right, okay.
So
this is the good one. I know what you're going to say.
Go on.
Right, so how do they get started with running?
Yeah. What's the first step? Because people get outside, mate, and as soon as they do that 1k, they're like, I'm going to absolutely leg it. Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah,
you know what I
was
mean?
going to say that. So obviously I've been there. Just run as fast as you can for as long as you can, and then die 2 minutes later. Run slow. Run slow. Check your heart rate. If you want to run far, you need to run. Not run slow, but run slower than you actually want to. Check your paces. So I know for me comfortably, I can run at 5 minutes a kilometre forever. Like it's fine for me. But if I start going up towards 4:30, maybe a bit more less, I'm not going to last very long. And that's the stage that you need to get to know if you can last that run. And it's just checking your heart rate as well. But I'd probably suggest doing interval training as well, like run a kilometre, rest for a little bit, run a kilometre, rest for a little bit. I know that couch to 5K is like supposed to be quite basic, but it's a really good place to start. It does help you get used to your body and how it should feel when you're running, because you shouldn't be blowing out your ass if you're trying to do a long run. If you are, then you're not running at the right pace for you. Especially don't listen to anybody else's splits either, because like we've said about Olympic lifting, like everybody's bodies are different. You might be able to handle a pace that somebody else can't, or vice versa. And don't get disheartened as well. Some days you're going to feel like shit. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to be, you might not hit the same pace every single day. But yeah, take it easy. That's what I would say. Especially if you're brand new to running and you've not got that much experience with it. You've got the trainers, you've got all the gear. But if you then run 5K, 10K, you're going to feel it the next day. So I probably would, like I said, start with the interval training, to be honest. Running, walking.
Yeah.
And just prepare your body for it.
Yeah. One of the things I don't know who taught me, to be fair. I think it was a coach when I used to play football, and it was in lockdown, and he was saying, run one run where you're going all out and you're trying to beat your time last week. Then one run where you're trying to hold a conversation. So he'd say, put a YouTube video on or put a podcast on, and if you're losing the conversation that you're listening to, you're running too quick. Yeah. Because you're not got a sense of what's going on. But usually that was because your heart rate was going high. Yeah, so then I ended up just switching it to what my heart rate was. Right. But what would you judge your heart rate off when you're at a comfortable running pace? If you had to give me a percent.
In terms of what? Do you mean like zone or?
Go zone and then go percent.
So the longer runs that I've looked at, I'm mostly in zone 3 and 4. But yeah, when I did a 10K and I tried to go as fast as I could. I did it in 43, I think it was. But like, mate, that was pain, like awful. But then I did one with Joe, we did it in 60 minutes. And like I said, I felt like I could run that out all day. Yeah. It was like nothing. So I aim to go more towards in between that. So percentage-wise, probably talking about between 60 and 70.
Yeah, this is probably usually what I tell clients to go for, and like myself, 60 and 70s. Because again, I feel like you can still hold the conversation. Yeah. Like running with someone's always good, because if you can speak to them and you can both still talk, you're at a good pace. But whereas, like you said, if you're going for a 10K and it's an event, like I'm doing the Manchester 10K tomorrow, this will be out afterwards, so God knows what I got.
What are you going for though? Say it now.
I'm going to go for 47 minutes.
Yes, Dad.
I'm going to go for it. I got 50, and I feel like I've got a lot better at running since then.
Plus that adrenaline as well.
Exactly, so that's what I mean. So for me, like on an event day or on a race day or whatever, like you are going to push yourself more, and it is going to hurt afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Because you're going for that end goal. That's why you've signed up for it. Like it's getting that mentality that when you're just running the 10K on a Monday morning on your own, you don't have to be a hero. No. Just get used to your pace, get used to the time that you're running at.
To be honest, mate, you've touched on a good point there, because that's not where the gains are made either. You're not going to get better just by coming and trying to run a PB 10K every single time, or whatever it is. It might be 1,000 meters. You're not going to get better just by trying to do a fucking 1K sprint every single time. You've got to do percentage work. I tell all my clients this in weightlifting, and it was something that I had to learn myself the hard way, because for years, I'd just constantly try and PB every single session. I didn't understand about percentage work. It was only when I just stripped it back and started doing a lot of percentage work at like between 80 and 90%, not going above that, just trying to perfect 80 and 90%. That was when my gains were made. Yeah. And that was when I got loads more experience of having a heavier load for longer, because where I'd do my warm-up sets and then I'd increase. So I wasn't getting much volume at that target area. So that's the same thing I said to these. It's like, you've got to be consistent and do a lot of work in that 80 to 90 range. Yeah. And that's where the gains are made. It's not just trying to PB every single time.
Yeah. Like you say, if you're going absolutely balls to the wall on a 10K every single time and you're feeling a niggle in your Achilles, reason that, like you said yourself, I had with my left Achilles, because I was doing that. I'd try and run as fast as I can every run so I could see it on Strava and be buzzing. But then I don't actually understand if it's the way I'm running that's causing the issue. Yeah. It's just how fast I'm trying to go. Whereas if people, like say the beginner runner who gets outside and thinks, oh my God, I feel like Forrest Gump, I'm just going to absolutely bomb it. If you just try and spend time in that 60 to 70% heart rate zone or zone 3, where you can just kind of have that steady pace, you'll learn what pace you are, and then you go, right, I did this 10K, a 6-minute kilometre pace. Next time I'll try and do 5-minute 55, 5-minute 50, and just try and knock off that way.
You could even take it one step further and do it, say, you've got your 10K pace, and then you could do it in intervals, 1K intervals, but try and do each interval a little bit faster,
Yeah.
or like 30 seconds faster, because you know you can hold it for 1K. If you can do it for 10K, you can hold it for 30 seconds faster, and then have a bit of a rest, then do it again.
Yeah.
And that's going to get you way more results than just doing 10Ks over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, man, 100%. Well, mate, that would probably wrap up today's podcast. It's been an absolute blinder. I really enjoyed
Thanks
it.
for having me.
If anyone was to go and find yourself, where would they go?
At Kieran Hart Coaching on Instagram, or at Wigan Barbell Club on Instagram, and I've got a little bit on TikTok as well, but I just post a little bit of random stuff on there.
We all do, mate, don't worry. That's our dirty little secret as coaches. What's coming up for you?
Oh, right, so I have got, it's actually, what day is it? Saturday. It's 4 weeks today that I will be competing in Norway.
Oh, sick.
That will all be live streamed as well, so I'm going to post up the YouTube links on my socials.
Well, this will come out 2 weeks before you do that.
Oh yeah, cool, perfect. And then 2 weeks after that, I'm actually doing the British Weightlifting Masters, which is at the NEC.
Sick.
So that's going to be mega. And then I'm going on holiday, having a well-deserved rest. And I've not decided if I'm going to do Worlds yet, but I will keep everyone posted on that. That's in Finland in September.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
We'll see, but I'll be against all the Chinese there.
Yeah.
So
Oh, mate, that'll be rough. Mate,
it'll just be an experience to show the warm-up area with them, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's sick.
But yeah, other than that, I'm just promoting my my weightlifting program, promoting my teens classes, and also Barbell Club. Just getting more people to come into the gym. It's getting really busy at the minute as well, which is cool. And we've got some big things coming up at JST as well soon. So I'll be posting about all those on my socials.
Yeah, definitely. And for those who are listening who are interested in getting into CrossFit, go to JST. You're in good hands. Hopefully no one hates me for saying that. No, but main question, mate, where are you going on holiday?
I think it's going to be Greece.
Oh, that'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
We're looking at Halkidiki.
Oh, cool.
That's where Danielle used to live there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's where I want to go back.
Yeah, mate, that'll be mega. Well, thank you everyone for listening. If you're not already, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, on Instagram. You'll probably see these reels anyway. And yeah, check out Kieran, and we'll catch you in the next one.